Hello, world, and welcome to the Quick Kick Picks presented by Bros Talking Soccer. My name is Dave Kittle here with my brother Christian, I can't remember which side of the screen he's actually going to appear on, but
I'm on
Christian.
this side right here. Dave, do you not see me?
There he is. Right. Yep, he's right there. It is MLS match week 11. All right, we're ready to get right into things. Christian, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so kicking things off on Friday, May 10th, we have the Vancouver Whitecaps hosting the Portland Timbers, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen here?
I expect the Timbers to keep on rolling. They are a little bit more in form now than they started the season, which was pretty atrociously for the Western Conference champions. And I expect them to get a result. And more than a result, I expect them to get a win in Vancouver this week and continue their incredible return to form. There's not really much else to add. I just don't rate Vancouver that highly in either defense or attack. I think they're going to struggle to really establish any type of system this year. It just doesn't look like it exists. And Portland finally are getting it together, and I expect them to have a string of results and really get back into the discussion. No, I don't think they'll be challenging the LA teams for top of the West, but they will be competitive in the playoff race, and I expect them to get another win today or this week.
Okay, score prediction?
2-1.
2-1. All right, so they keep that train rolling. So Vancouver, they're coming off a 3-2 win over Colorado. Montero got some goals and was involved. They haven't had too much production out of the center forward position. Yordi Reyna with a hamstring injury missing, so they really need Montero to step up, and him getting a goal against Colorado bodes well for them. They're middle of the pack defensively, but Christian, you touched on it. I have concerns about them from an attacking perspective. They're averaging 1 goal per game and 22nd in the league in that category. Meanwhile, Portland, 3 straight victories. Coinciding with those wins, they've only given up 1 goal in each of those 3 straight matches, which is the first time that they conceded less than 2 goals in a match. That all started with 3 matches ago. So they're finally starting to get things buckled down defensively. They're kind of the opposite of Vancouver, where I'm more concerned, or I'm not concerned about their attack, but I am a bit more worried about them defensively. Again, they're starting to piece that part of their squad together, but they're still conceding 2.2 goals per game, which is 22nd in the league. That's why I ultimately have this Cascadia Cup rivalry match as a 2-2. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Next match, moving to Saturday, May 11th, we have FC Cincinnati hosting the Montreal Impact, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen here?
Well, Montreal going into the Red Bull Stadium and getting a win was pretty much a statement showing that they are here to stay. It was against my better judgment that I predicted them to lose that game against the Red Bulls, but Montreal really are just grinding out results, even without Piatti as their star man, which is absolutely amazing for that team, which doesn't have a lot of star talent, but they're getting it done, and they're doing it very, very well. Specifically defensively, they're really not conceding very many chances, and they really put that part of their game together. On the other hand, FC Cincinnati, after a pretty bright start, one of the historic starts for a new franchise, absolutely garbage. I'm sorry, but you've just fallen apart, FC Cincinnati, and I don't know what the answer is to get them back in, but I think the summer moves are going to be really important for them. Right now, Montreal are clearly the better team. They've had a lot of practice. They've been on the road a lot so far this year. I think they're going to be up and ready for this one. I predict it, although Montreal do not create a lot of chances, they will not concede a goal and end up winning this game 1-0.
All right, I'm in agreement with you on the Montreal road victory. FC Cincinnati let their manager go this week. It'll be interesting to see what they do, with regards to replacing him. They've lost 5 straight and they're winless in their last 7 matches. They haven't scored in something like 500 plus minutes at this point. Worst goals per game. That's what I'm trying to say in the league. And I'm interested to see if their new manager can get their attack flowing in some way. I mean, we still don't know. On the Montreal side of things, they won 2-1 at Red Bull. They were 1-0 down in the first half, and they showed a lot of fight to get back into that match. I love their defensive organization. That's why I ultimately have Montreal getting the 2-1 road victory here. Christian, anything else you want to add?
I'm just shocked you think that Cincinnati can score a goal against Montreal.
Yeah, I'm going to say they get a little bit of a new manager bounce. They find a way to get a result because they do have attacking talent on that team.
You just said they're not.
Well, they're going to get a goal, excuse me. Yeah. But they have attacking talent on that team. They're
Right.
just playing too many defensive players. So
Fair
next
enough.
match we have is FC Dallas taking on and hosting the New York Red Bulls, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what do you think is going to happen here?
New York, my God, what has happened to you? They are just a disaster right now. And going on the road to Dallas, right? It's a road game this week.
Yeah,
right?
it's a road game. I feel like you call them a disaster every week.
Because they continually prove that they're a disaster. There's no reason to not say it. They cannot figure out anything about their game. Every once in a while, they will grind out another result, and then they will just go back down a rabbit hole for 2 or 3 games. That is not the recipe for success. Fun fact, if you didn't know that already, winning and then losing 3 in a row does not help you. I would say this has FC Dallas written all over it. This is going to be a win for them. The Red Bulls, I just don't know what the answer is right now. Without, why can I not think of what his name is right
Bradley
now?
Wright Phillips.
Bradley Wright Phillips, able to score goals. They have no answers in the attack. Defensively, they are just way too leaky, losing experience over the past window. I don't know what the answer. They're going to have to make some moves. They're one of the historic franchises in the league, and it's unacceptable how they're playing right now. FC Dallas wins this game 3-1.
I'm in agreement on the FC Dallas getting a victory here. Red Bulls playing midweek, I think that hurts them. They lost midweek, and then they have to travel, so obviously that's going to take a toll on the team. They also potentially lost Aaron Long in that match. He pulled up late with a hamstring injury when I was watching. Don't know the extent of the injury at this point, but he would obviously be a huge loss for them. And BWP, still bothered by a groin injury, not sure if he's 90 minutes fit. They didn't look great in their attack against, really throughout the season, but specifically against Montreal. They only created 2 big chances all game, and really they scored on a set piece goal. So again, concerned from a New York Red Bulls perspective on the Dallas front. They lost at Houston, but they showed good fight getting back into the match, and a late VAR call is why they didn't get a draw in that one. They're likely to still be without Paxton Pomykal, so that's going to be a concern for them in the middle of the park. But Cerrillo, who's been a revelation for them, 18-year-old defensive center midfielder. I don't think he's with the US U20s just yet, so look out for him in this match. Dallas gets a 2-1 home win. Next match we have is Toronto FC hosting the Philadelphia Union, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Christian, what's going to happen here?
This might be my highlight game of the week, and I know there's some good ones, but I'm very excited to see what this matchup can bring. Toronto came into Philadelphia in week 1 and put on a clinic. They really just took the Union to school when the Union were still learning their new system. This time around, I think it's going to be different. The Union are starting to get healthier again. They traded away a Acom, but I don't think that will make much of a difference to the team. I think the selection really is going to make itself for the Union at this point. They've got depth all over the place, and their starting lineup is very competitive with the best of teams in the Eastern Conference. So Toronto, coming off that Atlanta loss on Wednesday, also is going to hurt them a little bit, I think. Just the travel that they're going to have to do, the playing in the midweek, and Atlanta really just completely shut down Toronto, which is something we haven't seen, I don't think, this year yet. So it was very impressive. I know Atlanta have incredible quality in their team, and they've been underperforming so far this year, but still, they just completely shut down Toronto. And I think without Josie Altidore, they struggle in attack. So this week, I'm predicting a 1-1 draw on the road for the Union in a very big result.
Oh my goodness, that's exactly what I'm predicting as well. Josie will likely be back, or at least he might be back, but I would be surprised if he starts this match, likely coming off the bench, and he'll make an impact through that. Like you said, they lost midweek against Atlanta, and they looked extremely sluggish throughout that match. Pozuelo just was not involved as much as he has been over recent weeks, and I don't know if that's a concerning sign or if that was just midweek travel, playing on turf in a hostile environment. Osorio did come into the match. He didn't start, so he looked rested, and they seemed to get a little bit better once he came in. He'll be well rested for the weekend, so he's a player to watch out for. On the Philly front, they're still going to be without Blake, but they are getting back Marco Fabian. He's probably going to come in for Brendan Aronson. Hopefully doesn't miss a beat at that attacking center midfielder position. I think Shabilko and Fafa will ultimately start at strikers, but I think the striker partnership of the future is Shabilko and Santos. Ultimately ends 1-1. Philly gets a road result. Next match we have is the LA Galaxy hosting the New York City FC, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's happening there?
I hope LA just hosts New York very nicely because New York is not going to have a fun time. I hope they have fun just being in the LA sunshine because really there's no chance that New York City is getting a result in this matchup.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. What's interesting about that? There's no way in hell that New York City FC is walking into LA and getting a result. I don't care which team in LA they're playing against. They're not getting a result there. Both of those teams are probably the top two teams in MLS right now. I know that's arguable, but I still think that those two teams are the best teams in the league. Who on that team can stop Ibra? I understand. I'm going to say it every time. Nobody. And every week I can say it. Yeah, okay. I can say it every week because no one in the league can stop Ibra. There's very few people on earth who could stop him. But honestly, LA is just a better team overall. And in New York City, I don't think travel well as a team, and it's just going to be a result for LA Galaxy. And I think it's going to be a dominant victory and a 3-0 win for LA this week.
So you say no one can stop Ibra, but Columbus stopped Ibra midweek. So they pretty much made LA Galaxy one-dimensional. They were swinging crosses, and Columbus dealt with that. I mean, New York City FC, I don't think they have quite the talented center backs that even Columbus has, but there are recipes to shut down. I'm in agreement with you that the Galaxy win this, but it's not so clear-cut for me. I think it's a 2-1 LA Galaxy victory. Again, LA Galaxy likely going to be without Jonathan Dos Santos. He's very influential for them in the middle of the park, so that's a concern. On the NYC FC front, they didn't have a midweek match, so they're going to be more well-rested coming into this. They only have one loss on the season, and they're undefeated in their last 6 matches. I mean, they have a little bit of momentum coming into that. Maxi Morales is starting to be really involved in the attack. He was involved in both goals over the weekend. They do still have some lineup questions, specifically with Mitrita and Jesus Medina, who haven't been playing. I know Mitrita's been injured, but Medina's just not getting in. They're very talented. I think LA gets a 2-1 victory, but it's a lot closer than what you think. Next match we have is Columbus Crew taking on the other LAFC, the other LA team at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the LA teams visiting Columbus this week. Christian, what's happening there?
Wow, you took exactly the words out of my mouth that I was going to say. So
brothers.
Yeah, so I understand Columbus beat the LA Galaxy this week. That's nice. You're not going to do it again. LAFC is going to win this game, and I understand Columbus had a great result against the Galaxy. It was very unexpected, in my opinion, and for a team, they lost 4 or 5 in a row coming into that game. Was it 4?
I think it was 5. No, I think it was 5.
Yeah, and they were a team that was competing for the Eastern Conference at that point until they went through that bad form. And I think LAFC are one of the best teams in MLS ever. I really do. And they're going to just be able to cut through Columbus. I think Columbus are a good team defensively, but at the end of the day, it's so hard to contain all of the weapons that LAFC can throw at you. It's very different than playing against the Galaxy because Ibra is the star man. This is just wave after wave of different players with different skill sets coming at you, and LAFC are going to win this game. It won't be a dominant victory, but they will get the result, and I think this one's 2-1 in Columbus.
All right, so I'm in agreement again with you on the score and the result there. I don't want to discount Columbus. And the thing that I found most encouraging by their 3-1 midweek victory was how good they looked offensively. They've been really struggling in recent weeks offensively, and it was good to see them finally start to click a little bit. So that's an encouraging sign for them. Slightly more concerning is they haven't kept a clean sheet in 6 matches dating back to April 6th. They were one of the best defensive teams early on. They need to get back to that. And on the LAFC front, they had a frustrating 0-0 draw with Chicago Fire last weekend. That's 2 straight frustrating draws because they had Seattle the week before and they likely should have won. Still the most talented team in the league, still have the best attack and the best defense on a goals per game basis. They're healthy for the most part. They didn't play midweek. That's why I think they ultimately get a 2-1 home win. Next match we have is the New England Revolution hosting the San Jose Earthquake, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's happening here?
Oh, this one's real tough. I think these might be 2 of the worst rosters in MLS, but no, San Jose is going to win this game. I know it's in New England. I understand they fired their manager and there might be a bump, but my God, are New England bad. Oh, my word. They lost by an aggregate score of 10 goals this week, 11 given up in 2 matches. unacceptable. I understand why they let Brad Friedel go. He was unable to control that locker room. It's just like they could not get it together. And just seeing that in this past 2 games, you lost 5-0 to Chicago. Come on, man. That's not good enough. It really isn't. And I think Chicago are an okay team. They are not a team that should win any game 5-0 in MLS. So it's so bad from New England, and there's no chance that they get a result in this match. I understand San Jose are not a great team. They are a competitive team now. They've gotten a couple of results in a row. They'll come into New England, and they will get a win in a 2-1 victory.
All right, I have New England getting a result here. New manager bounce. It ultimately ends 2-2. They're not getting a victory here, but they do get a little bit of a bounce. A couple things factoring into that. San Jose, they're, again, building a lot of positive momentum. They're unbeaten in their last 4. They're coming off a 1-0 victory over FC Cincinnati, where they played down a man for 40 minutes. But the fact that it was cross-country travel ultimately is why they don't end up winning this game. New England, just to touch on a couple things that you touched on, they've given up 15 goals in their last 3 matches. That's not great. They're bottom of the table in the East. Not great. 23rd in the league in goals scored per game. Also 23rd in the league in goals conceded per game. All of that is not very good. But what the new manager is going to do, he's going to come in. He's just going to block things down. He's going to be more organized defensively. They'll get a couple goals and ultimately just find a way to get a result here. They need to change up their tactics because what they were doing before is not working. I think they get that with the new manager. Next match, we have the Chicago Fire, who we were just talking about there, hosting Minnesota United, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen in this one?
There's a feel-good factor at Chicago right now, but I just want you guys to take a second and think about who you just beat that badly. I need you to just think on that. Do not get overconfident.
Don't rain on their parade. Don't rain on their parade.
No. They think they're on fire, but they're not. I think that they do end up winning this game, but it's because they're playing another team that is not that great. And Minnesota are going to be very, very much more competitive than New England is. Don't get me wrong, people. But Chicago does end up winning this game in a close one. I think it's going to be either 1-0 or 2-1 game. I know I pretty much picked 2-1 in every game, it feels like, but that's just the most common score in MLS. I think that it is going to be a very, very close one, just because Chicago did play midweek. But did they really? It was just like a warm-up game almost.
And it was helpful that it was at home as well. But I have Chicago getting a 3-2 home victory. Agreement with you on the Fire victory, but I have it being a little bit more high scoring. They absolutely bulldozed New England midweek 5-0. We touched on that earlier. Nemanja Nikolic got a couple goals. Obviously good to get him going. Frankowski at right back and Calvo at left back, I think, is the defensive pairing moving forward. That's something good that they're finally getting sorted, because I think they were a little bit of a mess early on in the season. Gaetan has looked really dangerous. He looked very dangerous against New England. Granted, it was New England, but obviously, it's good to see that. And I've never really had concerns with the Fire attack. The fact that they beat New England 5-0 is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, they have really talented attackers. More on the defensive side were where my concerns were, and I feel like that might be addressed with their formation shift. Now, on the Minnesota front, they gave up buckets of goals to start the season, and they've only conceded 1 in their last 3 matches, and that was a bullet from Christian Roldan last weekend. So they're finally starting to get organized defensively. They're undefeated in those 3 matches, and they are one of the highest scoring teams in the league. Darwin Quintero and Angelo Rodriguez leading the line for them. I think ultimately Chicago gets a 3-2 home victory because, again, being at home and that attack, but should be an entertaining game here. Next match, we have the Colorado Rapids hosting Real Salt Lake, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What is this, the Rocky Mountain Derby or something? I forget what they call this exactly, but Christian, what's happening in this one?
More like the who cares derby, I just sorry. I mean it though.
Just shots fired immediately.
Colorado are a mess. I mean, I know they fired their manager, and hopefully it gets together for them, but I just don't see where it's coming from right now. I really don't think they have the pieces to be successful right now. And I don't know. Like this game, I don't know. It's one of the up in the air ones. I don't think either team really has a huge advantage or a huge disadvantage, which I think the disadvantage is going to win the game for somebody this week. My guess is it's No, it's not going to win. We're going to draw. It's going to be a draw. It's going to be 0-0. It's going to be real boring. That's what I'm going with this week.
So I agree that it's a draw, but no Colorado Rapids game this season has been 0-0. They haven't kept a clean sheet all year, and they're giving up 2.9 goals per game. So I think there were goals in this game, but I'm in agreement with you.
I go for bold.
Yeah, there you go. Go bold. I'm in agreement with you that it ends 0-0. I don't love what either team is doing right now. Colorado looked to be getting a result last week, and then Diego Rubio just lost his mind, slapped the guy in the face, got a red card, just boneheaded plays, and that's why Colorado's in the position that they're in right now. They did make some trades this week. They reinforced on the defensive side, getting Abubakar on loan. Maybe that'll help them, but again, it's tough to expect something when the guy was acquired midweek. RSL side, they've lost 2 straight matches by a 2-1 scoreline. They're in the top third of the league in shots on target, but they've only created 3 big chances all season. That is by far the lowest in the league. They're just not creating good scoring chances. So that's something that they need to improve on. They're in the bottom quarter of the league in goals scored per game. So obviously need to improve on that. Ultimately, and it's a nice recipe to play Colorado when you're struggling to score goals. I think that's ultimately why they still score some goals, but Colorado being at home, maybe another, Connor Casey gets some more things figured out. That's why this ends 2-2. Next match, we have the Seattle Sounders hosting Houston Dynamo, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's happening in this one?
Well, if you don't think that the Union versus Toronto game is the highlight of the week, this one probably is. They're both in incredible form right now. I think Seattle has dipped a little bit, but they are still competitive in the West. Houston just are grinding results. They look very, very good right now. And going into Seattle, they're going to be riding their form and feeling good about that trip. And I think that they go in there and they get a result. I don't think they win, but I think that they're going to cause Seattle a lot of problems. I think Seattle's defense has looked much weaker recently than the way that they started the season. They do have weapons in attack. Both teams do. And I think this is going to be a 2-2 draw, and we're going to see some goals.
I think it'll be an entertaining match. I think it'll be tight. I think Seattle ultimately does pull out a 2-1 victory here, though. Seattle has had 3 straight draws and hasn't won in 4 matches. So like you said, they're experiencing a little tough run of form. Rui Diaz did come back late in the match last week, and so it was good to see him coming back from injury, getting some minutes. Maybe he plays a little bit more. I think they look a different team when he is in the lineup. They're scoring almost 2 goals per game on average, so they're still one of the better attacking teams in the league. They made 2 big signings this week, but I don't expect either of them to make an impact. I think Garth Lagerwey came out and said that they're not going to have an impact for a couple weeks, so not going to factor them in here. Houston, meanwhile, they won 2-1 at home to FC Dallas. I don't think they are top of the table on a points per game basis in MLS, but a part of that is due to a favorable schedule so far this year. That might be coming back to reality a little bit. Again, this is a tough road trip. They do have tons of people with elite talent on this squad. Elise and Manotas, along with Memo Rodriguez, are some of the best attackers, and I really, really like what I'm seeing from Houston in the attacking phase of the game. I think this is a really entertaining match, but Seattle finds a way to get a 2-1 home victory. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Moving to Sunday, if I can get my papers, moving to Sunday, May 2nd, Atlanta United is hosting Orlando City, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure what this rivalry is called, but I know it's a rivalry match. Christian, what's happening here?
All I hear right now with Atlanta is the Jaws music. Here they come. They're coming for everybody. It's like just slowly creeping up, and it's scary. I'm expecting them to win this game at home. Absolutely. I don't think that Orlando has all the tools that they need to beat this incredibly talented Atlanta roster. I know that they started very slowly, but they are one of the best teams in MLS still, and we're going to see it. They're going to start beating teams as they have done in the past few weeks. At home, I expect them to just dominate this game in possession. I think that this game is going to be pretty one-sided. I know that it's a rivalry match, and most of them get cagey, and it's a lot closer. But I still think Atlanta just have too much quality. It's going to end 3-1 in this match. Yeah, I'm rocking. I'm just so ready for the game, Dave.
Did you say 3-1?
I did.
Damn it, that's exactly what I did. God, we got to just stop being brothers,
Get out of my head.
Constantly. Ay. All right. Well, anything else? Sorry to interrupt you at the end there.
No, Dave, this is your time. Go ahead.
Okay. Atlanta, they've won 3 straight and 4 out of their last 5. Like Christian said, they're really starting to build some momentum. It's scary for the rest of the Eastern Conference. They absolutely dominated Toronto midweek, just suffocated them. They look like the much better side. Villalba looked really dangerous starting. I know he's been coming off the bench a lot recently, and with Barco away with the Argentina U20s, he looked really, really dangerous, especially off the dribble. Pity Martinez looked more influential as well. He's still going down a little bit too easily, and I think he's still getting used to the physicality of MLS, and hopefully he continues to improve on that front. But it's scary what Atlanta is starting to piece together. Orlando, meanwhile, lost 2-0 at home to Toronto. They're creating a decent amount of chances, specifically in that game, but they were really wasteful with their shots. They had 18 shots in that match, only 2 on target. Not great ratio. In that match, they conceded 13 and allowed 9 on target. So again, they're giving up more shots on target. Nani looked really, really good, and the attack really flows through him, and he's very influential in them creating those scoring chances. And ultimately, that's why Atlanta gets a 3-1 home victory. Last match of the MLS weekend, we have DC United hosting Sporting Kansas City, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wrapping things up. Christian, how's the weekend going to finish?
I think it's going to be a pretty decent game. I think both teams are going to be competitive, and I think DC at home just have more than SKC does right now. I think SKC really started well, and since their Champions League exit have not really rebounded in form. Yeah, just complete dip and dive. And I don't really know how to explain it. I guess that just happens when you're really I guess emotionally they just got devastated a little bit. And
they're the most injured team in the league right now.
Oh, boo-hoo. They no, I'm kidding. But they act injured every time I watch them on the field, so whatever. I just don't think that they have the tools right now to beat this DC team on the road. There's no chance. DC have too many attacking threats, and right now that's what's going to make the difference in this game. I think Kansas City have a decent defense, but it's been leaky recently, so I just think DC are going to pretty much steamroll them in terms of that type of quality in the attack. Probably a 3-0 victory.
All right, I have a 2-0 victory for DC, so we're a little bit different there. DC coming off a 3-1 home victory over Columbus. So they were kind of dominant in that, but a lot of that match swung on that controversial VAR call, and Columbus just sort of imploded after that. But on the DC front, it was good to see Acosta, Areola, and Rooney all get on the score sheet, so that's encouraging from them. The own goal from Bill Hamid, that's not really encouraging, though, so he really needs to clean it up. They didn't really concede a ton of other chances, but that was not great display from him. Meanwhile, SKC, they're just in an absolute tailspin right now. Winless since March 30th. They've conceded 14 goals in 5 MLS matches. It's almost 3 per game. Longest injury list in the league. And it's not just injuries, it's injuries to key and influential players. So it's either starters or key substitutes. And that's really hurting them right now. Still have confidence that Vermees ultimately rights the ship, but not here. DC gets a 2-0 home victory. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
That is it. Go enjoy MLS Match Week 11 this weekend. This has been Quick Kick Picks presented by Bros Talking Soccer. I'm Dave. That's Christian, wherever he is. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon, everybody. See ya.